please start recording the session.
Yes. Now, the thing is like we need to understand the technical term called editing. So, and editing is not a new thing. Yes, we are working with editing inside the Photoshop, but that is still format. Now we'll be switching to a video format of editing. But before going to learn more, let us understand what is the edit mean, then editing the video. Edit is a process where we are making a lot of cut, copy, paste job to make the audience to understand the things proper. I mean, like it is there in the form of a newspaper. In the newspaper also you'll find like newspaper editor. And in our school books also you'll find like textbook editor. So editor is not a new thing. It is there in our life since childhood. In book it is written or in newspaper it is written. What is the job role of an editor? This type of questions to be get rise in the brain, because these are all the questions which is not there in the software. And sometimes this makes a sense. That's why I've just taken an initiative to understand like what exactly required to understand inside the editing. Fine. In that way, you can note down the questions like what could be a question that make a different approach to the software. Fine. So what is called editing? Without editing, how does the movie looks? With editing, what is the difference? In that angle, just raise few questions. I'm not telling the questions. It could be rise from your end. But here what I can like work out here, I'll be raising some questions and I'll giving out the answers. Maybe like it will fit your need. Switch to the screen. The first question, what is editing? It's an arranging process to make the storytelling process easier inside the filmmaking side. So it's a process to arrange the things proper so that the other person can able to understand the story easily. Exactly the same thing happens in your newspaper also. Let us take an example to understand like what is the job role of an editor inside a newspaper. Okay, every day we are reading the news inside the newspaper. Let us take a case. Whenever the incident happens somewhere, there is a like PTI, Press Trust of India, where the news comes and it comes to various news agencies in a rough format. And the editor is a person who is going to make the story to speak in such a manner that universal way, so that every reader can able to understand. This is the job role of an editor inside the newspaper. Let us take an example. So it could be any example, but I'm just taking a case. Okay, in 2013, like bomb blast happened in Dilsukh Nagar. So just taking a live case, Dilsukh Nagar, 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. bomb blast, 5 casualties. This is how the news comes from the PTI to the news agencies. How does the editor represent this? Dilsukh Nagar is a place which is known to us, but a person who is there 1,000 kilometers away or 100 kilometers away, it doesn't require him to understand what is Dilsukh Nagar. He may know Hyderabad. So now the editor makes the story in a bigger way. How does the editor, if somebody tells us like Dilsukh Nagar, 6 p.m. bomb blast happened, 5 casualties, we understand these things. And he can able to write the thing in that way also, but it is not written in that way. How does they make the story to get start? Hyderabad. It's a crowdy place somewhere like Hyderabad, one of the biggest metro in India. So the story starts now. This is called established shot. Just I'm making you to go for a filmmaking processing. Established shot. So some technical terms, but I'm just going to connect you up. Established shot. Inside the film also it happens the same. Here the editor is trying to get the audience to have an imagination of Hyderabad first. What is Hyderabad? Hyderabad, one of the metro in India. Dilsukh Nagar is a crowdy place. After that, they start up zooming in Dilsukh Nagar. First Hyderabad, then Dilsukh Nagar. Then the timing, 6 p.m. is a time where people are rushing to catch the bus to their home from the job. So he is trying to pull the eye of the audience to get the crowd to feel fast. Then suddenly the incident happened, then like two casualty and something. So what the editor tried to make the people to understand, like where does it happens and what is the situation. He's just generating a story inside the brain. This is the job role of an editor, so that audience can able to understand the things proper. So to get it done, what are the jobs he has done? He has cutted some thing. He has replaced something. So some technical terms he didn't used. See, he has removed the technical term to easy understanding things. Replacement, cutting up, repeating, and arranging. So these are all the jobs done by the editor. We have taken the case in a newspaper. The same thing happened for a film also. So now from this case, what we understood, editing is not happening inside the software. Editing is happening inside the brain. And that is not in the syllabus. Hope this part is understandable proper. Does it clear? Editing is not inside the software. Editing is there in the brain. If the 70% of the editing is known, then this 30% software can able to help to make the editing in a meaningful way. Learning all the tools is just a tool to cut, copy, paste, but how to arrange it is not there in the software. So filmmaking course is a 1-year course where people learn how to make the editing. But inside this 15 hours, what we are going to learn, what is the tools inside the software. So hope what is to be learned, what we will be learning, how to implement the things, that is secondary. So this is not in the case of this software. Any software we are learning, software is just a tool. But editing, designing, these are not the software. Exactly the same way, we can search in the net, golden rule of editing. What, as you like graphic designing starts, we'll be searching two things. What are those? Fundamental rule of designing and color theory. They are the two base which makes the designing to look beautiful. Exactly the same way, golden rule of editing, golden rules of video editing. It can be searched in the net. There are 10 rules which is not inside the software, which can be implemented inside the editing. Hope we have understood what is our job role before going into the software. That could be done up. Now here we got a glimpse like what is the job role of an editor inside the like newspaper making or any textbook. So here we have pulled our concentration and focus to this part. Why? Because we need to understand what is our role inside the filmmaking. Fine. So I'll say my personal experience. Like, okay, I work with the film like Yogi, Raju Bhai. These are like film movies, few movies where I work as a VFX artist. But beside to my cabin, the editing cabin is there. And I work with the Ligand editor of Telugu industry, Gautam Raju sir. You might be knowing the name. They don't know any software. So that doesn't require to know also software. The editing happens in their brain. And by just paying like 10, 15,000, they hide the technicians as the editor. But editing is done by Gautam Raju, who doesn't require to know any software also. Because they know editing. This technical people make it to go for a speed. This is the speed giver machines, this Premiere or any software. Just they get it arranged as per their requirement. And the technician works as a machine, they know machine language. Fine then, so just case the eye, what is to be learned before starting editing. So golden rule of editing, you can search in the net and you'll find 10 rules of editing. Yes, I'll anyhow like it will be covered up, but it is not in the syllabus. It is the extra part. Fine then, so let us move into the filmmaking process. What we do inside the video editing processing. Video editing again is of two types. Video editing is majorly of two types. One is offline editing, one is online editing. Offline editing is this is the software like Premiere and all things are offline editing, and the other editing is online. Now cricket show live sessions are online editing, video editing, live shows, where multiple camera input will come to a desk. And here the editor will be switching on the button which camera angle has to be shown to the public. Here the editor's job is crucial, and they need to take a decision spot which camera angle has to be shown to the audience through the satellite. If let us take an example like cricket match. The time the bowler is bowling, if he start up showing to the batsman, and the time the batsman is hitting, it will start showing to the bowler, then finish. Like people cannot able to understand what is the story going on. You got my point, right? And the credit goes to you as a online editor. You will be sitting on the table, which switch has to be get on. As per that, the audience will understand the story. So that responsibility is yours. That is called online editing. That is a different software, baking like software they use. But just we got to know like what is the job role of editor inside the online processing. And a lot of places online editing is happening, like live shows, news channels, cricket match, parliamentary sessions, election like commentaries or something. And these are like online. There also the editor works. So we got an idea like what is called online editing, but our domain is offline editing. In offline editing, what happens? The RSS or the footages come to the hard disk. From the hard disk, it goes to the software. From the software, again back to the hard disk, and from the hard disk to the various format. This processing is called offline processing. And Premiere works in offline processing. Not only Premiere, a lot of software there. Here we got to know a rough cut difference between what is online editing, what is offline editing. In online editing, directly the input will go through the satellite, and from the satellite, it goes to the like certain places or to the user end. It may be a satellite, or it may be like Meres or Meres live editing also happening up. So on a screen, they make 4 or 5 camera input to show to the audience who are sitting inside the table, somewhere in the function. That is also online editing, personalized online editing. So nowadays, it also happens. But offline editing, we have seen, it goes through the hard disk to the software, from the software to this hard disk, again back to the various file formats or like destinations. Fine then. So hope we got to know how many type of video editing, online, offline. Just question and answer, and try to make it to reach you up. Still, like if you are having any questions, we can able to discuss on that part before entering into the software. We are not opening any software, so nothing to get worried about. Now, what are the different type of softwares available in the market for offline editing? It's not like Premiere, a lot of software there. We are not learning Premiere now, we are learning offline editing. With this same knowledge, you can able to work in any software, just only the tools or some icons will be changing up. And every day new software are coming up. It's not like mandatory will be paying the things and learning. The editing, once you understood the editing, then you can able to work in any editing software. Fine. So as per the different sources, editing software are also different. There are various capturing cards are there. So capturing card means like now the things are recorded in hard disk or like a pen drive, I think. But before this, it is recorded in tapes and reels, negatives. So at that time, it required a capturing card to capture the negative processing thing into the hard disk, digital license, from negative to digital. Then it required a capturing card. So it has to capture all the data from the tape to the hard disk. And every capturing card does have a editing software, like Snazzy, Pinnacles. They are like different softwares name I'm sounding over here. They are like capturing cards available in the market. Nowadays, that era is gone. Still, maybe like some people are using cassettes. They require capturing cards. And every capturing card comes up with a offline editing software. So hope we got to know which type of editing software available in the market. Now,
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
This capturing card
Yes.
is used for tapes.
Tapes, right? You got the point. And
so it is in the camera.
It is in the camera. In camera nowadays, digital camera came up. Before, digital camera, they used to have tape cameras, cassette.
Yes.
And correct. That cassette camera, whenever the things are recorded, it has to come to the hard disk. From negative to the hard disk, some mediator is required, and that is called capturing card. It will start capture the information from the negative to the hard disk in a digital format.
So
So
even today, even the digital cameras have a capturing card nowadays?
it doesn't require,
Not,
because
not needed.
straight away into the hard disk it will go up, because
Okay.
the information captured in digital format. Still
Okay.
editing, we need to know this. That's why we have passed the
Okay.
information.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
So very nice question. Let's move into the next part, camcorder. Nowadays, every camera come up with their own softwares. Like Sony is coming with their own softwares to get it editing. That is also Sony Vegas is one of the software. So every camera come up with their own software. That is also offline editing software. So people can able to work on that software also. Now coming to the operating system, yes, Windows does have its own editing software. Apple is again a platform which is also giving better features. FCP is one of the software which is of Apple, and Windows does have Premiere, Avid, Snazzy, Pinnacle. A lot of hundred of software are there for video editing. We are learning one of the software, and that knowledge will work in everywhere. So hope we have understood now. It is not only this software is used in the market, a lot of software people are using, but this is one of the software which is of Adobe company. Now the software whatever we are going to learn is of Adobe. The soundness of the Adobe is like Adobe is a very huge company who is having multiple multiple multimedia softwares. That means you can able to start interacting from the editing software to designing software, from designing to compositing software. So Adobe does have a various platform to get you connect. So it makes your job much more time saving process. So why to learn Premiere? This a number of software are there. Why to learn this? The answer is it is a product of Adobe where it can connect you to Photoshop, connect you to Illustrator, connect you to After Effects. Compositing, designing, and layouting software are always connected with Premiere. So it saves your time. So hope you got to know what is the bigger reason to start this software. Fine. So we have started the journey of things like what is called editing, where editing is required, what is the job role of editor inside the newspaper, and what required to make editing inside the filmmaking process. Does the software is making everything or something else? What are the rules available? So in that way, it is a 1-year course. Yes, if you get a chance of somebody who is doing filmmaking courses like Ramanadu Studio, like a lot of places are there, even filmmaking, Film City like Pune, where this course is given for 1 year. So their books also can able to help us. Just I wanted to open from everywhere. The information has to be gathered up to make the editing process, not like Premiere. So they make us to understand like what is called editing. Fine then. So we have understood a little bit what is called Premiere. So the conclusion, Premiere is an offline video editing software, and it's a product of Adobe, which does have a flexibility to switch from video editing to compositing, video editing to designing. And they start of getting the information directly without render also. You can import the files and get it connect and do the editing, do the modification there, and here it will be updated. Fine then. So here we have understood a little bit about why to learn Premiere. Though there's many software there, why you need to choose this. What is the alternative Premiere? Yes, a lot of alternative FCPs and Avid. They are the 3 ruling software in the market for filmmaking. What are those? Premiere, Avid, and FCP, which is widely used in the market. Avid is of the same company, Avid, and FCP is Apple platform based. And Premiere, yes, it works in Apple as well as in Windows. In both the platform, it works. It's the product of Adobe. Now, Premiere works widely inside the small sector to the higher sector. I mean, like personalized videos and everything, short feature films to ad making till filmmaking. Everywhere the Premiere is used. And to the counterpart, FCP is again a high-end software, but it required Apple platform. It is a little costlier compared to Premiere working process. Hope we got to know, like everywhere is win-win situation is there. I'm not telling like that is good, this is not good. That is not my concern. To let you know, like costing. So costing wise, Premiere artist or Premiere working will be less compared to FCP. So low budget movies or small sector things in everywhere you'll find Premiere. If you go to market, you'll find Premiere everywhere. Fine then. So let's move alternative. Already you have learned, and the reason of learning also you got to know. Filmmaking process and the job role of editor in it. It may be a question like, what is filmmaking process and what is the job role of editor? So if this is a question and answer is there, well and good. If not, this could be a question, because we need to understand like what are the technical terms before starting the software. Fine. If I can take your small time to understand like what is the negative processing happen. Now it closed. But when I start my career, I used to take the negative. The whole film was shooted in negative format. And as if like in marriage shooting, we used to have negative camera before. Nowadays also people are using Kodak, Konica, and exactly the same thing. In the rolls, we are putting the rolls now. In 36 images can be taken. But if you switch to the film negative, it is purchased in fits. And 1 fit consists of 16 frames. This is what the calculation, because negative was the expensive part whenever it comes to the shooting. So people used to think twice taking the camera and making a click. But nowadays it is digital camera, so no costing required, easy to go, multiple like take-ups. But before it was very costly. We need to purchase the negative, and once it is exposed to the light, then it is finished. You cannot able to reshoot it up. So at that time, how does it is purchased? It is purchased in fits, 1,000 feet, 500 feet, 2,000 feet cans were purchased from the studios. Then it was unexposed. Once it click, it become exposed. Then it goes for development, then negative process. So this many processes are done before editing. Film shooted, before the shoot it is unexposed. Now the shooting happens, then it becomes exposed to the light. And once it exposed to the light, then the image is captured, but it cannot be shown. It has to go to the lab. As if like you have taken in negative camera of still image, we cannot able to see it up. We need to process it through chemical. Then development happens, then it forms to a real negative. From the negative, again, the next processing happens, that is called telecine process, where negative has to convert into cassettes. And through the cassette, they go to the VCR. And from the VCR, it goes to the hard disk. This is the process. How does a negative process happens? So editing happens inside the software, but the shoot happens inside the negative. From the negative, how does it comes to the hard disk? This is what the processing. So telecine process is there where negative will convert into cassette. And once it convert into cassette, it comes to the VCR, and through the VCR capturing cards, it goes to the hard disk. Then from the hard disk, it go to the editing software. So this is the pipeline. As if like I told, like once it is in your need, then only it is easy to understand, or else somewhat it is a long process. Visualizations sometimes difficult. Then inside the editing software, what happens? The software is editing the dummy files. It is not the file which is going to be projected inside the theater, because theater require negatives and the editing done inside the software. Then how does it happen? This type of questions to be get right. As if like I made you to know, write down the questions what you want to know. Then it makes the learning process much more easier. Still, just in a very brief way, I'm just going. Then inside the editing process, the editor does the unwanted footage to get cut off inside the digital format, not in physical format, but the movie will be shown in a physical format that is there in the negative. So again, 3 things happens from the editor's desk. Once the editor does this work, it creates EDLs, editor decision list. So a little technical it sounds, but just put it in your brain. This is the process. As if editing student, we need to know this. Then after the editor has done the EDL is a list which are the negative to be get cut. Then it goes to a cutter. That is a person with a physical scissor waiting inside a negative room. They cut the negatives and they throw unwanted negatives, and they joint with a tape the wanted negatives inside digital making, inside the negative processing. Then one of the EDL will go to the dubbing center where the dubbing will happen. They will be given with a reference video. which is not the real video, which is going to be the theater. The reference video and the dubbing department will start up doing the dubbing by looking to that video. Then one EDL will go to the VFX department. That means editor is taking a major role inside the filmmaking process. From this table, 3 departments will work. Now this department closed because now no more negative cutting. Dubbing and VFX department is depending on the editing department. Once editing done, then it will go to the dubbing department, the reference video. By looking to the reference, people will start up making the redubbing work. The audio department works on that. And visual effects, again, special effects are done with this. So to make you know how does the process, I've taken this Excel, then in VFX, again, 2 process happens. Scanning will done because before it was negative. Negative has to go for 2K scanning. 2K means this is theater release size, 2048 by 1556, a single frame size. Anyhow, everything is recorded here now. Whatever I'm speaking, you can able to listen this. Then scanning will be done to the original negative, and that negative scanning done because the editing is done in a dummy file, in a dummy size, 720 file size. That is a smaller size, thumbnail size of the original movie. That doesn't do the editing in a theater size because it is only for reference. And then VFX are done in original size, 2K size. And this size again turn into print into again negative, and original negative, this negative will club together and it will punch with a sound, then it will go to the theater. This was happening, just I'm speaking about 2006, 2007, I have entered into the movie. So that was the process what happens in the studio. But now one of the department closed, and that is called negative department. So everything is hard disk. Then these 2 department work still going on. Dubbing and VFX works always happens. Cutting is closed and scanning is closed. So before work and present works in every things in a summary format I've told of, because the theory to be get stronger. So we have taken this much of time. Now the information has been passed. Start searching about the golden rule of video editing. Get it ready. Now coming to the technical terms. Yes. These are all the technical terms to be get known. HD means what? What is full HD? What is megapixel? What is PAL? What is NTSC? Then frames, clips, the shots, sequence. So these are all things will be coming into the picture. Fine then. So we'll be learning all the things one by one. As if the start part, we'll open the software. Get it close. If you have already loaded the Premiere, then you will find the thumbnails. Get it open. So till now, I've just covered the introduction part, why to learn Premiere and what is Premiere. That part only we finished. The time you switch on this particular software, no, it will start off showing new project. Till now, we have seen a word called new file. Am I right? No, in Photoshop, you find new file. But in Premiere, it is called new project. Now, film is a project. And inside that, you'll find sequence, like song sequence, fight sequence. And inside the sequence, you'll find the shots. And inside the shot, you'll find the frames. So from the broader to the narrowest, film is a project. And project consists of sequence. Sequence is a combination of shots. And shot may be a single frames or number of frames. And frame is an image. So this is how the building forms inside the filmmaking process. Either it is a 30-second promo or it is a 3-hour movie. These are all the things combined together to form the final project. So frame, shot, sequence, project. So the building block is the frame or the image. The basic element is your image. And as per that, whenever we open Premiere, it will start asking, do you want to make a project? Yes. Then what is the size and where you want to save? Second question, where you want to save? And D type somewhere you'll be finding this space, you can save it up. Now, immediately the software will ask you, what is the size? As we got to know, Premiere is used in various sectors. So any software, before starting, and there are a few questions, why to learn this software, where the software is used, what are the things can be done with the software. So to that question's answer, yes, Premiere is work inside the video industry, like video in the sense, film, television, advertisement, education.
And media.
So this is a bigger sector now. E-learning, Baiju.com, $1 million project. Saruk is the ambassador. Completely they are working on Adobe product, Premiere, Photoshop, After Effects. If 3 software we are aware of, then your own entrepreneurs, you can start working anywhere. It is possible. So education is a very booming sector nowadays. And all these school books are turned into video format. They use a video editing software. Unless video editing software is used, yes, it is not presentable. So they have to use, either it is compositing, VFX is there or not, doesn't matter, but editing will be there. Now, without advertisement, business never happens. Now, motion graphics, infographics. Although the motion is done by the compositing software, but the presentation complete through the editing software. Now, inside the television, yes, we do have 3 type of things, like news and serials or entertainment. In entertainment, completely they make offline, and inside the offline, this is one of the software. I'm not telling only the software, it's one of the software. Yes, film, 3 softwares widely used: Premiere, FCP, Avid. So in the video editing, where it is used, these are all the industry where Premiere is used. Is it okay? Where it is used, that's finished. And you can see the hugeness. 700 television channels, 24 hours, 365 days working. So there is a big job role waiting for you inside the television industry. Now education is more than that now. So the conclusion, if a person knows video editing, now, yes, I forgot to speak, see YouTube. This is a bigger market now. Web, I mean like web. So anywhere your like work is there, we are going to do or not that other things, but work is not like that. Yes, work is there. Fine then. So we have understood where we will be using our knowledge. Fine then. So let us open the software. The software will ask you where you want to work. Show me the sites. And first 2 sizes, can you able to see here? NTSC and PAL. It is for broadcasting, television industry. It is for US broadcasting standard size. This is Indian broadcasting standard size. NTSC and PAL. 720, 576 is PAL. Yes, no need to buy it. The time you take, it will show you all the details. 720, 576. NTSC is a little wider look, not wider look, because their height is less compared to Indian standard. Indian height 576. It looks more or less like square, but if you switch to the European standard, this is 480. So you can see the difference from 576 to 480. The width remains the same, but height is less in European standard. So the television screen look a little wider. So hope we got to know the difference between the 2 broadcasting standards. But except to the broadcast standard, it is used in video formats, HD, Full HD, this DV Pro. They are like cassette sizes. You can switch, and nowadays mobile is also a very big market. So you can switch to anything. But if the customer asks to make you to do the things of his own size, then here you can feed it up. Rather than taking any predefined size, switch to the setting. And here you can define what is requiring. Maybe like 2K 2048 1556, you can start up feeding, but Premiere required a big RAM. Minimum, like if you want to work on movies or like television serials or like wedding albums. Wedding album is a very big market for Premiere. Then minimum 16 GB RAM preferred. 16 GB RAM, it is there. Then you can handle full HD videos. Okay, so this is a challenging part which is to be taken care of, and you need to have more hard disk space because the rushes will come a lot of, because digital camera, no shooting cost, no negative charge, so they roughly shoot all the things and they come to you with a lot of rushes. So one should have a bigger hard disk to make the input first, then processing, then output, then 2 input space will be required for all these things. So hard disk required more, RAM processing required with a graphic card. So this is minimum requirement to make a offline editing commercial format. To do practice doesn't require more, but commercial output, yes, it's required. And here we can able to understand, instead of taking a predefined size, we can switch to the user-defined size. As per the requirement of the customer, we can able to feed it up. We can switch to the custom size. Here you can decide what is the size of your frame. Fine then, so I'm just taking a Indian standard broadcasting size.
Sir, I have a
PAL
question.
720 576.
Sir,
Just
I
go
have
for
a
okay.
question.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, I have a question. When you said custom sizes,
Yeah.
Now if a customer gives you any custom size, frame size, will it work on any
Yes.
platform?
Yeah.
How do we know it will,
Yes,
whether it will work? It should be able to play it, right?
Right. You are exactly right. Now the custom size here, what it means, Premiere doesn't give all these sizes. In different software, they give all these sizes, like 2K and all things are not there here. And that standard size, you can able to put it up here as a custom format. Because what are the sizes are not available in predefined sets. Software allows that particular required market accepted sizes here in the form of custom. Because every day new sizes are coming, and Premiere is not given all the sizes as a predefined sizes. That sizes will be playing up. You're right. If something odd sizes is there and it is to be plain every place, it will not work. So we need to be understand like where it is going to project. It will make the work. Premiere will do all the work, but whenever it goes to the user end, the player has to accept that. That means work can be done, but the player, like VLC player or whichever the player he is going to use, that player has to support, then it works out. Hope I made it clear.
Yes, sir, understood. So that leads to another question. I'm really sorry.
Yes, yeah. No
now, like you said, there are different platforms, like YouTube is one major platform, internet is one.
Yes.
So all these frame size, like you mentioned, was NTSC and all these are supported by all the platforms.
Yes, these predefined sizes are supportable to all the platform, but new sizes are not here. That has to be mentioned in custom. So the present sizes will support to like HD and all. It will support to the YouTube.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Fine. Now we have understood what is the point to be taken care while taking a new project, new sequence. So project is done, but now we are making a sequence, and inside the sequence we are taking care of one sequence sizes. Just go for OK, and the sequence is created. Fine. So here in this particular conversations, we have understood till now in a very fast way, which is not in the syllabus. I tried to make it cover what is called editing, and what is the job role of editor inside the newspaper, and how we can able to connect ourselves to understand the video editing process through a news editor, because we know what is called news editing, newspaper editing. Now, there are a few questions to be get asked. What is called editing? What are those? It is there in an Excel format. You can take a print screen of it. Anyhow, like I can give you this Excel also. Then after we got to know why to learn Premiere and where Premiere is used. Then we have entered into the process called what is filmmaking process and how does the works happens inside the filmmaking process in negative format. And in digital format, what are the department is not working and why it is not required, that we have understood. Negative cutting is not required because everything is now digital way. then we understood like a few things to be know before entering into the editing. That is called rules of designing. We can able to search in the net, and we have understood how to make a new project inside the Premiere. And in the next session, we'll be learning about the user interface detail, and we'll be learning the importing process. But before that, just take a note, what is the things to be get covered in Premiere in your syllabus. So you can take a snapshot of it or you can note it down. So we'll be covering these are all the things inside the Premiere. So let me introduction part. Whatever I've told now, it is inside the introduction part. But in the next session, we'll be seeing about user interface, then importing the files. Then the first editing will be done by 3-point editing. Then timeline, we'll be working on the timeline. And after the first editing is done, then we'll go for advanced editing. Then audio synchronizing part. Then video shots are there. Then in between two video shots, how to smooth movement is done by the transitions. Exactly the same thing happens to the audio department also. Whenever one sound will jump to the next sound, like comedy scene is there, suddenly this drama comes. Then from that sound to this sound, how does the transict? That is called transition. Smooth mixing is called transition, audio transition. Then effects, we'll be seeing some black and white effects like chroma effects and all. Then every movie comes up or every presentation of video comes up with a titling. Either it is in the first, like it is there in both first and last. The first is your casting and all things are done in title part. Then at the end, you'll find credit card. You're giving thanks to the public. And in the middle, intermission. Sometimes it will be a title only. Then audio effects, yes, but it is not an audio editing software. But yes, we can able to make dubbing, re-recording here also. Then the final product from the software to get the final output, it comes on the render. Then making, these are like subjective part. Then this is practical output part. Make a small trailers. This is a output. It is not a tool. And it is an option inside the software called multi-camera editing. Yes, it's a big thing we'll be learning. You'll be finding out the same conversation will be happening up. And instantly they will show the long shot, close up, mid shot. They will jump the shots as per the dialects. How does it happen? At a time, 4 or 5 cameras are used and the editing happens simultaneously in 4 cameras with a single cut. That is technically called as multi-camera editing. So it is a professional things we'll be learning, and it is possible in Premiere. How to control 5 camera at a time. 5 camera shot ki oko cut mide 5 camera cut ela control chalo. That will be seeing up. Then yes, Premiere has to be connected with a different software like Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, compositing, editing, like and designing, editing, layouting, editing. All the things could be connected. So we can take the input from various sources to make our presentation better. Is it okay? It's not a making software. So it's not a designing software. We need to take the design from other software to come over here to make the final presentation. Yes, at the end, we can make a short film or a film is a small format. Then yes, we got to know how we have work. Then video to audio exchange. So a Telugu movie is there, Hindi song has to be used. So audio exchange. Then frame matching is a technical term. So we'll be seeing practically how does it works. Frame match means you have taken a video from somewhere and you want to see that input where it is inside the original. That is called frame matching. That I'll show you in a practical manner. Trim window, it's a advanced editing window. And EDL. EDL is a paper which will be coming out from the software by showing which are the frames has been cut, the frame numbers and the code numbers, time code number of a footage. That is a paper. That is also important in grading and all things. So grading is a department where final color correction happens. They require this EDL. We'll see that in detail, but roughly you got to know what is the things to be get covered in Premiere. It is a 15 days course, 15 to 16 days. It depends like if with your doubts. But with this knowledge, we can able to handle multiple editing software. ఈ ఒక్క పర్టికులర్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ తెలిసిపోతే FCP ఈజీ అయిపోతుంది, AVID easy అయిపోతుంది ఎందుకంటే ప్రతి సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇదే 1-2 options will be extra, 1-2 icons will be extra, interface will be different, but editing remain the same. Am I right? In nowadays in mobile also you're finding some mobile editing software and people makes the video editing in mobile editing also. The editing remain the same, like output either it is in the final output we cannot tell it is done in Premiere or it is done in FCP or it is done in any downloaded application of mobile, because output is edit only. Fine, then that's it for the day. At a stage I have started speaking a lot of information. Yes, I do understand if somebody speak to me also I can able to remember. Anyhow, it is recorded, that's why I just passed off all the things, so it can be paused and listen. Fine, any questions you want to ask before going enter into the software? Yes, you can put me the things. If I know, I'll answer it off. Is it okay? So I'm not making you more strain now. So the summary of today's learning is we introduced the software and we got to know a little bit about how to make a new project. In the next session, we'll be seeing about the interface. It's okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next session with higher options. Nice to talk to
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good day. Good day.